day, and I'm out of breath because I just ran all the way over here from backstage. Okay, so first of all, my name is Mia Olmos. I am the director, and this is the Glass Menagerie. Thank you for coming. So there's a lot of things I want to say. First of all, this is the last show that all of us are putting on this year, all of us as in myself and the cast. We're all seniors. This is our last show at Etiwanda, and we're graduating after this, and it's crazy, but it's so exciting and so fun. We've been working on this for the past few months. I can't breathe, oh my God. Don't run before speeches. Okay, but also our tech that's backstage and that worked on the set, most of them are seniors, and this is it for us, but we're so happy to be doing this. But thank you so much for coming. First of all, we're selling Stargrams. I'm sure you guys saw them. If you wanted to support the cast or crew and buy them for $1, that would be great. It goes to the program. Also, intermission. We have an intermission after an hour in the play. That's about 15 minutes. You could use the restroom during that. Oh, restrooms are in the lobby. If you didn't see them, they're to my left. And then please turn your phones off. That's very important. Thank you, I see them doing that. Okay, we can't have any distractions or noises or anything like that. And respect the arts. We've worked really hard. Respect your family and friends that are up here tonight. This means a lot to us. If you need to get a phone call or anything, you're free to use the lobby or you're free to go outside, but the doors might lock on you, so maybe not. Our last show will be next Thursday, the 12th at 5 p.m. If you bring your program that you got when you bought your ticket and you show it at the door, you can get in for free. Come to that show. We would love to have more people. The set people worked really hard on this, and we're just so proud to have this, so thank you for my set tech that are in the back over there. Also, last note, we encourage reactions. Please laugh and smile. Like, it's fun. They have jokes in here. We want reactions from the crew, or from everybody pretty much, from you guys. But thank you for coming. This is the Glass Menagerie. Thank you.
I have tricks in my pocket. I've got things up my sleeve, but I'm the opposite of the stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth, and I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. I take you back to an alley in St. Louis. In Spain, there was revolution, but here there was only shouting and confusion. Labor disturbances, sometimes violent and otherwise peaceful cities, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit. That is the social background of this play. The play is memory. Being a memory play, it's dimly lighted, it's sentimental, it's not realistic. And in memory, most things seem to have music behind it. I'm Tom, and I am the narrator of this play, yet also a character in it. The other characters include my mother, Amanda, my sister, Laura, and a gentleman caller who only appears in the final scenes of the show. He is the most realistic character in the play, being an emissary from a world that we were somehow set apart from. I'm using this character as a symbol for the long-delayed but always expected something that we live for. There's a fifth character in this play. However, he appears in nothing more than on a photograph hanging on the wall. And when you spot this grinning gentleman, please remember that this is our father, Our father who left us a long time ago. He was a telephone man. A telephone man who fell in love with long distance, and so he gave up his job with the telephone company. And the last that we heard of him was a postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico containing only 2 words. Hello, goodbye, and no return address.
You know, Laura, I had the funniest experience in church on Sunday. The church was crowded except for one pew way down in front, and in that was just one little woman. I smiled very sweetly at her and said, "Excuse me, would you mind if I shared this pew?" "I certainly would," she said. "This space is rented." Did you know that was the first time that I ever knew that the Lord rented space? These northern Episcopalians. I can understand the southern Episcopalians, but these northern ones, no. Honey, don't push your food with your fingers. If you have to push your food with something, the thing to use is a crust of bread. Human beings must chew their food before they swallow it down. Oh, eat leisurely, eat leisurely. A well-cooked meal has many delicate flavors that have to be held in the tongue for appreciation, not just gulped down. Oh, chew, chew, chew.
Mother, I have not enjoyed one bite of my dinner because of your constant directions on how to eat it.
Temperament like a metropolitan star. You're not excused from this table.
Getting a cigarette.
You smoke too much.
Mother, I'll bring in the coffee.
Oh, no. Resume your seat. I'm going to be the maid and you're going to be the lady.
I'm already up.
Sit back down. So stay fresh and pretty for our gentlemen callers.
I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Well, the nice thing about them is they come when they're least expected. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was just a girl.
I know it's coming now.
Yes, but let her tell it.
Again?
She loves to tell it.
Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was just a girl. She received 17 gentlemen callers. Why, sometimes there were hardly enough chairs to accommodate them all, and we had to send the maid over to the parish house to fetch the folding chairs.
And how did you entertain all of those gentlemen callers?
Well, I happen to understand the art of conversation.
Oh, I bet you can talk.
Oh, I could. All the girls in my day could, I tell you.
Oh, yeah?
It wasn't enough for a girl to be possessed of a pretty face and a graceful figure, though I wasn't slighted in either respect. She also needed to have a nimble wit and a tongue to meet all occasions.
What'd you talk about?
Why, we talk about things of importance going on in the world. Never anything common or coarse or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen, all. Some of the most prominent men on the Mississippi Delta. Planters and sons of planters. There was young Champlain. He later became the vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. And Hadley Stevenson. He was drowned in the lake. My goodness, he certainly left his widow well provided for. $120,000, no less. And the Couture brothers, Wesley and Bates. Bates was one of my own bright particular beaux, but he was shot through the stomach. He died in the ambulance on his way to Memphis. He certainly left his widow well provided for, too. But he never loved that woman. She just caught him on the rebound. My picture was found on him the night he died. Oh, and that boy. That boy that every girl in the Delta was setting her cap for. That beautiful, brilliant Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
And what did he leave his widow?
He never married. Why, what's the matter with you? You talk as though all my old admirers had turned up their toes to the daisies.
Well, I mean, isn't this the first you mentioned that still survives?
He made an awful lot of money. He went north to Wall Street and made a fortune. He had the Midas touch, he did. Everything that boy touched turned to gold. I could have been Miss J. Duncan Fitzhugh, mind you. But what did I do? I just went out of my way and picked your father.
Mother, let me clear the table.
No. You sit down. Or go in front and study your typewriting chart a little bit. Stay fresh and pretty for our gentlemen callers. It's almost time for them to start arriving. How many do you suppose we're going to entertain this afternoon?
I don't believe we're going to be entertaining any, Mother.
Not any? Not one? Why, you must be joking. Not one gentleman caller? What's the matter? Has there been a flood or a tornado?
It's not a flood, it's not a tornado. Just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain. Mother is afraid that I'm going to become an old maid. Hello, Mother. I was just...
I know. You were just practicing your typing, I suppose.
Yes.
Deception! Deception! Deception!
How was the DAR meeting, Mother?
DAR meeting.
Well, didn't you go to the DAR meeting?
No. I didn't go to any DAR meeting. I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the strength. I just wanted to find a hole in the ground and crawl in it and stay there for the rest of my entire life.
Why did you do that, Mother?
Why, how old are you, Laura?
Mother, you know my age.
I was under the impression that you were an adult, but evidently I was very much mistaken.
Oh, please don't stare at me, Mother.
What are we going to do? What is going to become of us? What is the future?
Has something happened, Mother? Mother, has something happened?
I'll be all right in a minute. I'm just bewildered by life.
Mother, I wish you would tell me what's happened.
I went to the DAR this afternoon, as you know. I was going to be inducted as an officer. I stopped off at Rubicum's Business College to tell them about your cold and to ask how you were progressing down there.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. I went straight to your typing instructor and introduced myself as your mother. She didn't even know who you were. Wingfield, she said. We don't have any such scholars enrolled here. I assured her she did. I said my daughter Laura has been coming to classes since early January. Well, I don't know, she said. Unless you mean that terribly shy little girl who dropped out of school after only a few days' attendance. No, I said I don't mean that one. I mean my daughter, Laura, who's been coming to classes here every day for the past 6 weeks. And she took down the attendance book, and there was your name. Unmistakable. Printed. And all the dates you had been absent. I still said no. There must have been some mistake. There must have been some mix-up with the records. No, she said. I remember her perfectly now. Her hands trembled so that her fingers couldn't touch the right keys. When we gave a speed test, she just broke down completely, was sick at the stomach and had to be carried to the washroom. We telephoned the house every day, never got an answer. That's while I was working all those long days down at the department store, I suppose. I felt so weak I couldn't stand up. I had to sit down when they got me a glass of water. $50 tuition. I don't care about the money so much, but all of my hopes for any kind of future for you gone up the spout. Just gone up the spout like that. But don't do that, Laura. Don't play that Victrola. Oh, what have you been doing every day when you've gone out of the house pretending that you were going to business college?
Just been going out walking.
That's not true.
Yes, it is, Mother. I just went walking.
Walking? Walking in winter? Deliberately courting pneumonia in that light coat? Where did you walk to, Laura?
I walked all sorts of places, mostly in the park.
Even after you started catching that cold?
It was the lesser of two evils, Mother. I couldn't go back. I threw up on the floor.
From 7:30 till after 5 every day, you mean to tell me you walked around the park because you wanted to make me think you were still going to Rubicum's Business College?
Mother, it wasn't as bad as it sounds. I went inside places to get warmed up.
Inside where?
I visited the art museum and the birdhouses at the zoo. I saw the penguins every day. Some days I did without lunch and just went to the movies. You know, lately I've been spending most of my afternoons in the jewel box, that big glass house where they raise all the tropical flowers.
You did all of that to deceive me. Just for deception. Why?
Mother, when you get upset, you get that awful, suffering look on your face, like Jesus' mother in the museum.
Hush!
I couldn't face it. I couldn't.
So what are we going to do now, honey? For the rest of our lives? Just sit in this house and watch the parades go by? Amuse ourselves with a glass menagerie? Eternally play those worn-out phonograph records your father left us as a painful reminder of him? We can't have a business career. No, we can't do that. That just gives us indigestion. What is there left for us now but dependency all our lives? I tell you, Laura, I know so well what happens to unmarried women who aren't prepared to occupy a position in life. I've seen such pitiful cases in the South. Little bird-like women without any nest, eating the crust of humility all their lives. Is that the future we've mapped out for ourselves? I swear I don't see any other alternative. And it isn't a very pleasant alternative. Of course, some girls do marry. My God, Laura, haven't you ever liked some boy?
Yes, Mother. I liked one once.
You did?
I came across his picture a while ago.
He gave you his picture too?
No, it's in the yearbook.
Oh, a high school boy.
Yeah, his name was Jim. And here he is in The Pirates of Penzance.
The what?
The operetta that the senior class put on. Oh, he had the most wonderful voice. We sat across the aisle from each other Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the auditorium. And here he is with the silver cup for debating. See his grin?
So he had a grin too.
He used to call me Blue Roses.
Blue roses. What did he call you a silly name like that for?
Well, when I was out of school for a while with pleurosis, he asked me what was the matter when I came back, and I said pleurosis. He thought that I said Blue Roses, so that's what he always called me after that. Whenever he saw me, he'd holler, "Hello, Blue Roses!" I didn't care for that girl he went out with, though. Emily Meisenbach, the best dressed girl at Sylene. But she never struck me as being sincere. You know, I read in a newspaper once that they're engaged. It's a long time ago. They're probably married by now.
That's all right, honey, that's all right. Little girls who aren't cut out for business careers sometimes just end up marrying to very nice young men. And I'm just going to see that you do too.
But, Mother,
What is it now?
I'm crippled.
Don't say that word. How many times have I told you never to say that word? You're not crippled. You've just got a slight defect. If you lived in the days when I was a girl and they had long, graceful skirts sweeping the ground, by then it might have been considered an asset. When you've got a slight disadvantage like that, you've just got to cultivate something else to take its place. You've got to cultivate charm, or vivacity, or charm. It's the one thing your father had plenty of. Charm.
After the fiasco at Rubicon's Business College, the idea of getting a gentleman caller for my sister Laura played a more and more important part in my mother's calculations. It became an obsession, like some sort of archetype of the universal unconscious. The image of the gentleman caller haunted our small apartment, and even when he wasn't mentioned, his presence hung in my mother's preoccupied look and in my sister's frightened and apologetic manner. God, I mean, he hung like a sentence passed upon the Wingfields. However, my mother was a woman of action, as well as words. So late that winter, and in the early spring, she began taking logical steps in the planned direction. She began roping in subscribers to one of those magazines for matrons called The Homemaker's Companion, the type of journal that features the serialized sublimations of ladies of letters who think in terms of bodies as powerful as Etruscan sculpture.
Ida Scott? Ida, this is Amanda Wingfield. We missed you at the DAR last Monday. Oh, first, how's your sinus condition? Oh, you're just a Christian martyr. That's what you are. You're just a Christian martyr. Well, I was going through my little red book, and I saw that your subscription to the Companion was about to expire, just when that wonderful new serial by Bessie May Harper was starting. It's the first thing she's written since Honeymoon for Three. Now, that was unusual, wasn't it? Well, that's unusual, too. Oh, no, he's not perfect. Of course he has a weakness. He has the most terrible weakness in the entire world. He just drinks too much. What? Oh, no, honey, don't let them burn. You go take a look in the oven and I'll hold on. Why, that woman, do you know what she did? She hung up on me.
Mother, Tom is trying to write.
Oh, so he is.
Now what are you up to?
I'm trying to save your eyesight. You've only got one pair of eyes and you have got to take care of them. I know Milton was blind, but that's not what made him a genius.
Will you please go away and let me finish my writing?
Why don't you sit up straight so that your shoulders don't poke through like sparrows' wings?
Mother, please go busy yourself with something else. I am trying to write.
Now, I've seen a medical chart, and I know what that position does to your internal organs. Your stomach presses against your lungs, and your lungs pressed against your heart, and your poor little heart starts to get discouraged because it hasn't got any room left to go on beating for you.
What in the hell
Don't you talk to me like
am
that.
I supposed to do?
What is the matter with you? Have you gone out of your senses?
Yes, I have. You have driven me out of them.
What is the matter with you lately, you big idiot?
Look, Mother, I haven't got one thing left in this house that I can call my own.
Lower your voice.
You mean yesterday you confiscated my books? You had the nerve.
I did. I took that horrible book back to the library. That awful novel by that insane Mr. Lawrence. I cannot control the output of a diseased mind or the people who cater to them, but I won't allow such filth in my house.
House? Who pays rent on the house? Who makes a slave of himself every day?
Don't you dare talk to me like that.
No, I mustn't say anything. No, I have just got to keep quiet and let you do all the talking.
Let me tell you something.
I don't want to hear anything.
You will hear more.
I'm not going to listen. I'm going out.
I am tired of your imprudence, Tom Wingfield. And another thing, I'm right at the end of my patience.
What do you think I'm at the end of, Mother? Huh? Aren't I supposed to have any patience to reach the end of? I know it seems unimportant to you what I am doing or what I am trying to do, having a difference between the two, but you don't think that.
I think that you're doing things that you're ashamed of, and that's why you act like this. I don't believe that you go every night to the movies. Nobody goes to the movies night after night. Nobody in their right mind goes to the movies as often as you pretend to. Come in stumbling, muttering to yourself like a maniac. You get 3 hours sleep, then go to work. I can picture the way you're doing down there, moping and doping because you're in no condition.
Yeah, that is very, very true. I am in no condition.
How dare you jeopardize your job? Jeopardize our security? How do you think we manage?
Do you think I'm crazy about the warehouse? Do you think I'm in love with the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years of my life down there in that Celotex interior? Honest to God, Mother, I would rather someone pick up a crowbar and batter out my brains than go back mornings, but I go. I get up and I go, and sure, you come in yelling that whole bloody rise and shine bullshit. I think of how lucky dead people are, but I get up. I get up and I go for $65 a month. I go and give up all that I dream of doing and being ever. And you say that self is all I have ever thought of. Seriously, Mother, if self is all I've ever thought of, I'd be where he is. Gone. As far as the system of transportation reaches. Do not grab at me, Mother.
I'm not grabbing at you. I just want to know where you're going.
I'm going to the movies.
I don't believe that lie.
No? Well, you're right. For once in your life, you're right. I'm not going to the movies. No. I'm going to opium dens. Yes, Mother. Opium dens of vice and criminals as hangouts. I mean, I joined the Hogan gang. I'm a hired assassin, you know. I carry a Tommy gun and a violin case. I run a string of cat houses in the valley, and they call me Killer. Killer Wingfield. Oh yeah, I am really leading a double life because by day, I am a simple and honest warehouse worker, but at night, I am a dynamic czar of the underworld. I mean, I wear a patch over one eye and a false mustache, and then some days, I wear green whiskers. And on those occasions, they call me El Diablo. I could tell you things that could make you sleepless. Like my enemies plan to dynamite this place some night. Oh yeah, they're gonna take this place and they're gonna blow it all sky high, and will I be glad? Will I be happy? And so will you be. Yeah, you'll go up over Blue Mountain on a broomstick with 17, count them, 17 gentlemen callers, you ugly, babbling old witch.
My God.
I'll never speak to you again as long as I live unless you apologize to me.
I'm cracking it falls through.
Doing?
Looking for a door key.
Where have you been all this time?
I have been to the movies.
All this time at the movies?
Yes. Actually, you know, there was a very long picture. There was a very long program. Actually, there was a Garbo picture and a Mickey Mouse and a travel log and a newsreel and there was a preview of coming attractions with a collection for the Milk Fund simultaneously.
You're about to stay through everything?
I mean, of course. And I almost forgot there was a big stage show, and the headliner of the stage show was Malvolio, the magician. And, you know, he performed tricks, many of them wonderful tricks. And like, he took water between two pitchers, and he poured it back and forth. And first it turned to wine, and then it turned to beer, and then it turned to whiskey. And I know it was whiskey. It turned into, because he needed somebody to come up out of the audience, and I came up. Both shows, I came up, and it was Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Oh, and this is his magic scarf, and you can have it. Laura, because you know, you wave it over a canary cage. You get a bowl of goldfish, and then you wave it over the goldfish bowl, and they fly away, canaries. I mean, and the most wonderfulest trick of all was the coffin trick. The coffin trick, you know, we nailed him into a coffin, and he got out. He got out without removing one nail. You know, that's a trick. Get me out of this stupid 2x4 situation. Tom? Shh. What are you shushing me for?
You'll wake up Mother.
You know, pay her back for all those rise and shines. Shh. You know, it doesn't take much intelligence to get yourself into a nailed-up coffin. But tell me, Laura, who in the hell ever got themselves out of one without removing one nail?
Shh. Go to bed. Shh. Go to bed.
and shine. Rise and shine. Laura, tell your brother to rise and shine.
I'll rise, but I won't shine.
Laura, tell your brother his coffee's ready.
Tom, it's nearly 7. Don't make Mother nervous. Tom, speak to Mother this morning. Make up with her. Apologize to her. Just speak to her.
No, it is her who started not speaking.
If you just apologize, she'll start speaking.
Is her not speaking really such a tragedy?
Please. Please, Tom.
Laura, are you going to do what I asked you to do, or do I have to get dressed and go out myself?
Oh, I'm going. As soon as I get on my coat. Butter and what else?
Just butter. Tell them to charge it.
Mother, they make such faces when I do that.
Sticks and stones may break our bones, but the expression on Mr. Garfinkel's face won't harm us. Tell your brother his coffee's getting cooled.
Do what I asked you. Will you? Will you, Tom?
Laura, go now or just don't go at all.
Laura?
I'm alright. I slipped, but I'm alright.
I tell you, if anybody falls and breaks a leg on those fire escape stairs, that landlord ought to be sued for every cent he... Who are you?
Really? Are you serious? Mother, I am sorry. I am sorry for all those things I said. I didn't mean it. I apologize.
My devotion has made me a witch, and so I make myself hateful to my children.
No, you don't.
I worry so much I don't sleep. Makes me nervous.
I understand that.
You know I've had to put up a solitary battle all these years, but you're my right-hand bower. Now don't fail me, don't fall down.
I try. Mother, I try.
That's all right. You just keep on trying and you're bound to succeed. Well, you're just full of natural endowments. Both my children are. They're very precious children, and I've got an awful lot to be thankful for. You just must promise me one thing.
What is it, Mother?
Promise me you're never going to become a drunkard.
I promise. Mother, I won't ever become a drunkard.
That's what frightened me so. That you'd be drinking. Have a bowl of Purina.
No. Coffee's fine.
Shredded wheat biscuit?
No, Mother, just coffee.
You can't put in a day's work on an empty stomach. You have 10 minutes. Don't gulp. Drinking too hot liquids makes cancer of the stomach. Put cream in.
No, thank you.
To cool it.
No, Mother, I want it black.
I know, but it's not good for you. In these trying times that we live in, all that we have to cling to is each other. That's why it's so important to... Tom, I sent out your sister so I could discuss something with you. If you hadn't spoken, I would have spoken to you.
What is it, Mother, that you wanted to discuss?
Laura. You know how Laura is. So shy and still, water runs deep. She notices things and I think she broods about them. Came in the other day and she was crying.
What about?
You?
Me?
She has an idea that you're not happy here.
Wonder what gave her that idea.
What gives her any idea? However, you do act strangely. I'm not criticizing, understand that. I understand that your ambitions do not lie in the warehouse. That like everybody in the whole wide world, you've had to make sacrifices. But Tom, life's not easy. It calls for Spartan endurance. There are so many things in my heart that I cannot describe to you. I never told you, but I loved your father.
I know that. I know that, Mother.
And you, when I see you taking after his ways, staying out late, and while you had been drinking the night you were in that terrifying condition. Laura says you hate the apartments, and you go out nights to get away. Is that true, Tom?
No, you say that there's so much in your heart that you can't describe to me. Well, that's true of me too. I mean, there's so much in my heart that I can't describe to you, so let's just respect...
Why? Why are you always so restless? Where do you go to nights?
I go to the movies.
Why do you go to the movies so much, Tom?
I go to the movies because I like adventure. I mean, adventure is something that's lost at the warehouse, so I go to the movies.
But Tom, you go to the movies entirely too much.
I like a lot of adventure.
Most young men find adventure in their careers.
And most young men are not employed in a warehouse.
The world is full of young men employed in warehouses, and offices, and factories.
And do all of them find adventure in their career?
They do or they do without it.
Man is by instinct a lover, a hunter, a fighter, and none of those instincts are given much play at the warehouse.
Man is by instinct? Don't quote instinct to me. Instinct is something that people have gotten away from. It belongs to animals. Christian adults don't want it.
What do Christian adults want then, Mother?
Superior things. Things of the mind and the spirit. Only animals have to satisfy instincts. Surely your aims are somewhat higher than theirs. Than monkeys, pigs.
Yeah, no, I reckon they're not.
You're joking. However, this isn't what I wanted to discuss.
Well, I'm too late. I need to...
Sit down.
You want me to punch in red at the warehouse, Mother?
You have 5 minutes, and I want to talk about Laura.
All right. What about Laura?
We have to be making some plans and provisions for her. She's older than you, 2 years, and nothing has happened. She just drifts along doing nothing. It frightens me terribly how she just drifts along.
Well, I guess she's the type that people call homegirls.
There's no such type, and if there is, then it's a pity. Unless the home is hers. With a husband.
What?
I can see the handwriting on the wall as plain as I can see the nose in front of my face. It's terrifying. More and more, you remind me of your father. He was out all hours without explanation and left. Goodbye, and me with the bag to hold. I saw that letter you got from the Merchant Marine. I know what you're dreaming of. I'm not standing here blindfolded. Very well then. And do it. But not until there's someone to take your place.
What do you mean?
I mean, as soon as Laura has got someone to take care of her, married, a home of her own, independent, why then you'll be free to go wherever you please. On land, on the sea, whichever way the wind blows you. But until that time, you have got to look out for your sister. Don't say me, because I'm old and don't matter. I say for your sister because she's young and dependent. I put her in business college, a dismal failure. Frightened her so it made her sick to the stomach. And all she does is fool with those pieces of glass and play with worn out records. What kind of life is that for a girl to lead?
What can I do about it?
Overcome selfishness. Self. Is that all that you think about? Where is your wool muffler? Put your wool muffler on. Tom, I haven't said what I had in mind to ask you.
Well, I am too late now to do anything
Down
about it.
at the warehouse, aren't there some nice young men?
No.
There must be some.
Mother.
Find out one that's clean living, doesn't drink, and ask him out for sister.
What?
For sister to meet, get acquainted.
Oh my gosh!
Will you? Will you, dear?
Yes!
Ella Cartwright? Ella, this is Amanda Wingfield. Oh, first, how's your kidney trouble? Oh, it has come back. Well, you're just a Christian martyr. That's what you are. You're just a Christian martyr. I was noticing in my little red book that your subscription to the companion was about to expire. Just when that wonderful new serial by Bessie May Harker was starting. Oh, you have? You have read it? Oh, Ella, you sound so mad. Oh, because it's 7 o'clock in the morning? Oh, Ella, I forgot that you never got up until 9. I forgot that anybody in the world was allowed to sleep as late as that. Well, I can't say any more than I'm sorry, can I? Oh, you're going to take that subscription from me anyhow. Oh, bless you, Ella. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Across the alley was the Paradise Dance Hall. Evenings in spring, they'd open all the doors and windows and the music would come outside. And sometimes they'd shut out all the lights except for one large glass sphere that hung from the ceiling and turned about slowly and filtered the dusk into delicate rainbow colors. Then the orchestra would play a tango or a waltz, something that had a slow and sensuous rhythm. The young couples would come outside to the relative privacy of the alley, and you could catch them kissing behind ash pits and telephone poles. This was the compensation for lives that passed like mine. Lives that passed without change or adventure. Changes and adventure were imminent this year. As in Spain, there was Guernica, but here, oh, here there was only hot swing music, liquor and dance halls, bars, movies, and sex that hung in the gloom like a chandelier and flooded the world with brief but deceptive rainbows. And while all the girls and boys danced to "Dear one, the world is waiting for a sunrise," all the world was really waiting for was bombardment.
Tom, where are you?
Came out to smoke.
Oh, you smoke too much. A pack a day at 15 cents a pack, how much would that be in a month? 30 times 15? It wouldn't be very much. Well, it would be enough to help towards a night school course in accounting at the Washington U. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, I'd rather smoke.
I know. That's the tragedy of you. This fire escape landing is a poor excuse for the porch we used to have. What are you looking at?
The moon.
Is there a moon this evening?
Yep. It's rising over Garfinkel Valley.
Oh, so it is. Such a little silver sliver of the moon. Have you made a wish on it? What did you wish?
Now that is a secret.
All right. I won't tell you what I wished for either. I can keep a secret too. I can be as mysterious as you.
Yeah. Bet I can guess what you wish.
Why is my head transparent?
Oh, you're not a sphinx.
No, I don't keep secrets. All right then. I'll tell you what I wished for. Success and happiness for my precious children. I wish for that whenever there's a moon, and when there isn't a moon, I wish for it too.
I thought perhaps you'd wish for a gentleman caller.
Why do you say that?
I mean, don't you remember asking me to fetch one?
I remember suggesting that it might be nice for your sister if you brought home some nice young man from the warehouse. I think I've made that suggestion more than once.
Oh, yeah, you have made it repeatedly.
Well,
we're gonna have one.
what?
Yep.
You mean you've asked a nice young man to come over?
I asked him to dinner.
And did he accept?
He did.
He did?
He did.
Oh, isn't that lovely? It's definite then.
Oh, very definitely.
How soon?
Soon.
How soon?
Quite soon.
How soon?
Very, very soon.
Anytime I want to know anything, you just start going on like that.
All right. What is it that you want to know?
Go ahead and guess. Go ahead and guess.
All right, I'll guess. You want to know when the gentleman caller is coming. He's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, I can't do anything about tomorrow. Do anything about tomorrow.
Why not?
That doesn't give me any time.
And for what?
Time for preparations. You should have phoned me the minute you asked him, the minute he accepted.
Mother, you don't have to make any fuss.
Of course I have to make a fuss. Can't have a man coming into a place that's all sloppy. It's got to be thrown together properly now. I certainly have to do some fast thinking by tomorrow night, too.
I really don't get why you have to think at all.
That's because you just don't know. You just don't know, that's all. Can't have a gentleman caller coming into a pigsty. Well, let's see, I have those 3 pieces of wedding silver left. I'll polish that up. And I wonder how that old lace tablecloth is holding up after all these years.
Mother, this boy is not one to make a fuss over.
I don't know how you can say that when this is the first gentleman caller your little sister's ever had. I think it's pathetic that the girl has never had a single gentleman caller, but... Come on inside, come on inside.
Mother, look, if you make a fuss, I will call the boy up and tell him not to come.
No, you must never do that. People hate broken engagements. Gives them no place to go. Come on inside, come on inside. Won't you come inside when I ask you to come inside? Sit down.
Any particular place you'd like me to sit?
No, sit anywhere. Look, what am I going to do about that? Have you ever seen anything look so sad? I know, I'll get a bright piece of craton. It won't cost much. What's his name?
His name is O'Connor.
O'Connor? He's Irish, and tomorrow's Friday. That means fish. That's all right. I'll make a salmon loaf and mayonnaise dressing to go with it. Where did you meet him?
The warehouse, of course. Where else would I meet him?
Oh, I don't know. Does he drink?
Now, what made you ask me that?
Because your father did.
No concern on that.
He drinks then.
No, not that I know of.
You have to find out. There's nothing I want less for my daughter than a man who drinks.
Mother, aren't you being a little premature? I mean, poor Mr. O'Connor hasn't even appeared on scene yet.
But he will. Tomorrow to meet your sister. And what do I know about his character?
Okay, now what are you doing?
I always did hate that old cowlick. I can never understand why it won't stay down by itself.
Mother, I'm going to say this, and I mean it sincerely straight from the heart. There are a lot of boys that girls meet which they don't marry.
You know, you always did have me worried because you never could stick to a subject. What I want to know is, what's his position at the warehouse?
He's a shipping clerk.
Oh, shipping clerk. Well, that's fairly important. That's where you'd be if you had more get-up. How much does he earn? The salary?
I have no way of knowing that for sure. I judge his salary to be about $85 a month.
$85? That's not princely.
It's $20 more than I make.
Oh, how will I know that? How will I know that? $85 a month. No, it can't be done. A family man can never get by on $85 a month.
Mother, Mr. O'Connor is not a family man.
But he might be sometime in the future, mightn't he?
I see. Plans and provisions.
You are the only young man that I know who ignores the fact that the future becomes the present the past, and the past turns into an everlasting regret if you refuse to plan for it.
Yeah, I will think of that and see what I can make of it.
Don't be arrogant with your mother. But I want to know more about this. What do you call him? Mr. O'Connor? Mr. O'Connor, he must have some other name
His
besides...
full name is James D. O'Connor. The D stands for Delaney.
Delaney? Irish on both sides and he doesn't drink?
Shall I call him up and ask him?
No.
No. I will call him up. I'll call Mr. O'Connor up and tell him whether or not that he wants to know whether or not you want to know whether or not he drinks.
No, you mustn't ever do that. You have to be discreet about the subject. When I was a girl in Blue Mountain, if it was suspected that any young man was drinking and any girl was receiving his attentions, if any girl was receiving his attentions, then it was her duty to go to the minister of the church and ask about his character. Or her father, if her father was living. Then it was his duty to go to the minister of the church and ask about his character. And that's how young girls in Blue Mountain were kept from making tragic mistakes.
Really? And how come you made such a tragic one?
You know how he did it? That face had everybody fooled. All he had to do was grin. The world was bewitched. I don't know anything more tragic than a young man put at the mercy of a handsome appearance. And I hope that Mr. O'Connor is not too good looking.
In fact, he's not. he's got a lot of freckles and then a very large nose.
He's not right down homely.
I wouldn't say right down homely. Medium homely, I'd say.
Well, if a girl had any sense, she'd look for character in a man anyhow.
That is what I have always said.
You've always said it. You've always said it. How could you have always said it when you've never even thought about it?
Don't be so suspicious of me, Mother.
I am. I am suspicious of every word that comes out of your mouth when I talk to you. But I want to know more about this young man. Is he up and coming?
Yeah, I really do think he goes in for self-improvement.
What makes you think it?
He goes to night school.
Well, what does he do there at night school?
He is taking a course in radio engineering and public speaking.
Oh, public speaking. Well, that shows that he intends to be an executive someday. And radio engineering. Well, that's something, huh?
Yeah, it's something.
Well, those are very illuminating facts. Facts that any mother should know about any young man calling on her daughter, seriously or not.
There's one little warning, Mother. I didn't tell him anything about Laura. I didn't let on that we had some dark ulterior motive. I just said, hey, how about coming to dinner? And he said, fine. And that was the whole conversation.
I bet it was too. I swear sometimes you can be as eloquent as an oyster. However, when he sees how pretty and sweet that child is, he's going to be very glad he was asked over here to have some dinner.
Mother, you won't expect too much of Laura, will you?
What do you mean?
I mean that Laura seems all those things to you and me because, she's ours and we love her. I mean, we don't even realize she's crippled anymore.
Don't use that word.
Mother, you have to face the facts. She is, and that's not all.
What do you mean, that's not all?
Mother, Laura is very different from other girls.
Yes, I know that. And I think that the difference is all in her favor, too.
Not quite all. Mother, Laura is terribly shy, and in the eyes of strangers, she's terribly shy. She lives in a world of her own, and those things make her seem a little peculiar to people outside the house.
Don't use that word. Peculiar.
Mother, wake up. You have to face it. She is.
I don't know in any way that she's peculiar.
She lives in a world of little glass animals. You said it yourself. All she does is play phonograph records.
Laura! Laura!
Yes, Mother?
Let go of those dishes and come in front. Laura, come make a wish on the moon.
Moon? Moon?
A little silver slipper of a moon. Look and make a wish.
What shall I wish for, Mother?
Happiness. And just a little bit of good fortune.
So, the following evening, I brought Jim home to dinner. I had known Jim slightly in high school, and in high school, Jim was a hero. You know, he was a star in basketball, captain of the debate team, president of the senior class, and the glee club. And with that, he sang the male lead in the annual light opera. I mean, he was forever running or bounding, just never walking. I mean, he was shooting with such velocity throughout his adolescence that you would just logically expect him to arrive at nothing short of the White House by the time he was 30. But Jim ran into more interference after high school as his speed had definitely slowed. And so now, he was holding a position at the warehouse that wasn't much better of my own, and he was the only one with whom I was friends with. It didn't matter. I was valuable to Jim. Valuable as someone who could remember him for his former glory. Someone who had seen him win the Silver Cup in debating, all those basketball games. I mean, he knew of my poems, and for that he called me Shakespeare. And while all the other boys in the warehouse regarded me with suspicious hostility, Jim took a humorous attitude toward me. I know Jim and Laura had known each other in high school because I remember Laura speaking admiringly of Jim's voice. However, I didn't know whether or not he remembered her because in high school, Jim had been as astonishing as Laura had been unobtrusive. And if he did remember Laura, it wasn't as my sister. For when I asked him home to dinner, he said, "You know what, Shakespeare? That's a really funny thing. I never expected you to have folks." Well, was he about to find out that I did?
Why, Laura, are you trembling so?
Well, Mother, you've made me so nervous.
Why? How have I made you nervous?
By all this fuss, you make it seem so important.
I don't understand you at all, honey. Anytime I try to do anything that's the least bit different, you just seem to set yourself against it. Now take a look at yourself in that glass. No, wait just a minute, I forgot something.
What is it?
A couple of improvements. When I was a girl, we had round little lacy things like that, and we called them gay deceivers.
I won't wear them.
Of course you'll wear them.
Why should I?
Well, to tell you the truth, honey, you're just a little bit flat-chested. Now take a look at yourself in that glass.
You make it seem as if we're setting a trap.
We are. All pretty girls are traps, and men expect them to be traps. Now look at yourself. See? You look just as pretty as an angel on a postcard. Now you just wait, I'm going to dress myself up. You're going to be astonished at your mother's appearance. I found an old dress in the trunk, but what do you know? I had to do a lot to it, but it just broke my heart to have to let it out. to the governor's ball in Jackson. You should have seen your mother. You should have seen the way she sashayed around the ballroom, just like that. I had it on the night I met your father. I had malaria fever, too. Not enough to be dangerous, of course. It was lovely. Invitations poured in from all over. My mother said, you can't go any place because you have a fever. You have to stay in bed. I said I wouldn't, and kept on going and going. Long rides in the evening, and dances in the country, and picnics. That country so lovely in May, and simply flooded with jonquils. My mother said, you can't bring any more jonquils in the house. I said I will, and kept on bringing them in anyhow. Malaria fever, your father, and jonquils. I hope they get here before it starts to rain. I gave your brother a little extra change so he and Mr. O'Connor could take the service car in.
Mother,
What's the matter now?
what did you say his name was?
O'Connor, why?
What's his first name?
I don't remember. Oh yes, I do, it was Jim.
Oh, Mother, not Jim O'Connor!
Yes, that was it was Jim. I'd never known a Jim that wasn't nice.
Are you sure his name was Jim O'Connor?
I'm sure, why?
Is he the one that Tom used to know in high school?
He didn't say so, I think he just got to know him at the warehouse.
There was a Jim O'Connor, Tom and I both knew in high school. If that is the one that's coming home to dinner, Mother, you'd have to excuse me. I wouldn't come to the table.
What's this now? What sort of silly talk is this?
You asked me once if I ever liked a boy. Don't you remember I showed you the boy's picture?
You mean the boy from the yearbook?
Yes, that boy.
Laura, were you in love with that boy?
I don't know. All I know is that I couldn't come to the table if it was him.
It won't be him. It isn't the least bit likely, but whether it is or not, you will come to the table. You will not be excused.
I'll have to be, Mother.
I don't intend to humor your silliness, Laura. I've had too much from you and your brother both, so just sit down and compose yourself until they come. Tom has forgotten his key, so you'll have to let them in when they arrive.
Oh, Mother, you answer the door.
How can I when I haven't finished making the mayonnaise dressing for the salmon?
Oh, Mother, please answer it. Please don't make me do it.
Honey, what's all this fuss about? It's just one gentleman caller, that's all, just one.
Please don't make me do it.
What is the matter with you, you silly thing?
Please.
Why have you chosen this moment to lose your mind? You go to that door.
I can't.
Why can't you?
Because I'm sick.
You're sick. You are sick. Am I sick? You and your brother both have me puzzled to death. You can never act like normal children. Would you give me one reason why you should be afraid to go to a door? You go to that door, Laura Wingfield. You march straight to that door.
Yes, Mother.
I've got to put the courage in you, honey. For living.
Laura! This is Jim. Jim, this is my sister, Laura.
I didn't know that Shakespeare had a sister. How are you, Laura?
How do you do?
Well, I'm okay. Your hand's cold, Laura.
Well, I've been playing the Victrola.
You must have been playing classical music on it. You ought to play a little hot swing music. That'll warm you up.
Uh-huh.
What's the matter?
Oh, Laura is terribly shy.
Shy, huh?
Yeah.
You know it's unusual to meet a shy girl nowadays?
Really?
I don't believe you ever mentioned that you have a sister.
Well, now you know I have one. You want a piece of the paper?
Mm-hmm.
Comics?
Comics. Sports. I see that Dizzy Dean is on his bad behavior.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And where are you going?
Out on the terrace to smoke?
You got away?
Yeah. Hold on.
Sky's pretty tonight. You know, Shakespeare, I'm going to sell you a bill of goods.
Oh my. What goods?
The course I'm taking.
What course?
A course in public speaking. You know you and me, we're not the warehouse type.
Oh, thanks. That's good to know at least. But what does public speaking have to do with it?
It fits you for executive positions.
Right.
I tell you, it's done a hell of a lot for me.
Oh yeah? In what respect?
In all respects, ask yourself, what's the difference between you and me and the guys at the office down in front? Brains? No. Ability? No. Then what? Primarily, it just amounts to one single thing.
And what is that one single thing?
Social poise. Wow. Ability to square up to anybody and hold your own on any social level.
Tom,
Yes, Mother?
is that you and Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, it is, Mother.
Make yourself comfortable.
We will.
Ask Mr. O'Connor if he would like to wash his hands.
No thanks, ma'am. I took care of that down at the warehouse. Tom,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza was speaking to me about you.
Favorably?
What do you think?
Well,
You're going to be out of a job if you don't wake up.
I am waking
Yeah,
up.
but you show no signs.
Because the signs are interior. Look, I am just about at the point of committing myself to a future that does not involve the warehouse or Mr. Mendoza or even your stupid public speaking night course.
Now what are you gasping at?
I am tired of the movies.
The movies.
Yes, the movies. I mean, look at them. All of those glamorous people having adventures, hogging it all, gobbling the whole thing up. Meanwhile, everybody in America just sits in a dark room and watches them having it. Until there's war. Yeah, that is when adventure becomes available to the masses. And you know, that's when everybody in America comes out of the dark room and starts having adventure for themselves. I mean, goody, goody, and it's our turn to make a South Sea safari, be exotic, far off. But I don't want to wait that long, Jim. But I am not patient. I am right about to move.
Move?
Yes,
When?
soon.
Where?
I am starting to boil inside. Look, I know outside I seem dreamy, but inside, well, I am boiling. Look, I
What?
remember.
The Union of Merchant Seamen?
Yes, I paid my dues last month instead of the electric light bill.
You're going to regret that when they turn off the lights.
Well, I won't be here.
Yeah, but how about your mother?
You see him? I am like my father. You know, the bastard son of a bastard, and he's been going on absent 16 years.
You're just talking, you drip. How does your mother feel about it?
Speak of the devil, she is not acquainted with my plans.
Tom,
Yes, Mother?
where are you all?
The living room, Mother.
Ooh.
Why, Mother, you look so pretty.
You know that's the first compliment you ever paid me. I wish you would look pleasant when you're about to say something pleasant so I can expect it. Mr. O'Connor.
How do you do?
So this is Mr. O'Connor. Introduction's entirely unnecessary. I've heard so much about you from my boy. I finally said to him, Tom, good gracious, why don't you bring this paragon to supper finally? I'd like to meet this nice young man at the warehouse instead of just hearing you sing his praises so much. I don't know why my son is so standoffish. That's not Southern behavior. Let's sit down. Let's sit down, and I think we can stand a little more air in here. Tom, leave the door open. I felt a nice fresh breeze a moment ago. Where has it gone to? It's so warm already. However, we're having a very light supper. I think light things are better for this time of year. Light clothes and light food are what warm weather calls for. So quick. It came so quick, I wasn't prepared. I looked up at heavens, already summer. I ran to the trunk and pulled out this old dress. Terribly old, historical almost, but you know, it just feels so good, because it's so good and cool.
Mother, how about our supper?
Honey, you go ask sister if supper is ready. You know that sister is in charge of supper. Tell her you hungry boys are waiting for it. Have you met Laura?
Well, she came to the door.
She let you in?
Yes, ma'am.
She's very pretty.
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
It's rare for a girl as pretty and sweet as Laura is to be domestic, but Laura is not only pretty, but very domestic. I'm not at all. I never was a bit. In the South, we had so many servants. Gone. I wasn't prepared for what the future brought me. All of my gentlemen callers were planters and sons of planters. So of course, I assumed that I would raise my family on a large piece of land with plenty of servants. But man proposes and woman accepts the proposal. To vary that old saying a little bit, I married no planter. Instead, I married a man that worked for the telephone company. That gallantly smiling gentleman over there. A telephone man who fell in love with long distance. Now he travels and I don't even know where. But what am I going on about my tribulations for? Tom?
Yes, Mother?
What about supper?
Why, supper is on the table.
Oh, so it is. And where is Laura?
Oh, Laura is not feeling too well and thinks maybe she'd better not come to the table.
Laura!
Yes, Mother?
Mr. O'Connor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Laura, we can't say grace until you come to the table.
Oh, Mother.
Whoa!
Oh, Mother, I'm so sorry.
Oh, Laura, you are sick, darling. Rest on the sofa. I guess standing over that hot stove made her ill. I told her it was just too warm this evening, but is Laura all right now?
Oh, she's better, Mother.
My goodness, I suppose we're going to have a little rain. Tom, you say grace.
What?
What do we do before we eat? We say grace, don't we?
For these and all thy mercies, God's holy name be praised.
Amen. You know, Mr. O'Connor, I haven't had such a pleasant evening in a very long time.
Well, Mrs. Wingfield, a toast to a beautifully cooked meal.
To a beautifully cooked meal.
Hey, Mr. Lightbulb.
Where was Moses when the lights went out? Do you know the answer to that one, Mr. O'Connor?
No, ma'am, what's the answer to that one?
Well, I heard one answer once, but it wasn't very nice. I thought you might know another.
No, ma'am.
You know, I just put these candles on the table for ornamentation, but it's always nice when they prove useful too.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Now, if one of you gentlemen can provide me with a match, we can have some illumination.
I can, ma'am.
Thank you. I suppose it must be a burnout fuse. Do you know anything at all about a burnout fuse, Mr. O'Connor?
I know a bit about them, ma'am, but where's the fuse box?
It's in the kitchen. Be careful, it's dark. Don't stumble over anything. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't it be terrible if we lost him? Are you all right, Mr. O'Connor?
I'm all right.
You know, electricity is a very mysterious thing. The whole universe is mysterious to me.
Oh, yeah.
Some people say science clears up all the mysteries for us, but in my opinion, it just keeps on adding more. Haven't you found it yet?
Yes, ma'am, found it all right, but them fuses look okay to me.
Tom,
Yes, Mother.
that light bill I gave you several days ago, the one I got the notice about.
You mean last month's light bill?
You didn't neglect it by any chance, did you?
What? No, I
You did? I might have known better than to trust you with it.
Maybe Shakespeare wrote a poem on that light bill, Mrs. Wingfield.
Maybe he did too.
Maybe the poem will win a $10 prize.
I guess we'll have to spend the rest of the evening in the 19th century before Mr. Edison found the Mazda lamp.
Candlelight is my favorite kind of light.
That shows you're a romantic. But that's no excuse for Tom. However, I think it was very kind of them to let us finish our dinner before they plunged us into everlasting darkness. Tom, as a penalty for your carelessness, you can help me with the dishes.
Okay.
May I be of some help, ma'am?
Oh, no, I couldn't allow that.
Well, I ought to be good for something.
What did I hear?
I just said I ought to be good for something.
That's what I thought you said. Well, Laura's all by her lonesome out front. You can keep her company if you'd like. I can give you this lovely old candelabrum for light. It used to be on the altar of the Church of the Heavenly Rest, but it was bent a little out of shape when the church burnt down. Joan said it was because the Episcopalians had started having card parties right in the church.
Is that so, ma'am?
I never say anything that isn't so.
I beg your pardon?
I'd like Laura to have a little dandelion wine. Do you think you can hold both?
I can try, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, Tom, you get into your apron.
How are you feeling now? Any better?
Yes, thank you.
Here. This is for you. It's a little dandelion wine.
Thank you.
Well, drink it, but don't get drunk. Say, where do I put the candles?
Oh, anywhere.
How about right here on the floor? Any objections?
No.
Okay, then I'll just take some newspaper and have it catch the drippings. I'd like to sit on the floor. Mind if I do?
No.
Would you hand me a pillow? A pillow.
Oh,
How about you? Don't you like to sit on the floor?
yes.
Well, why don't you?
I will.
Take a pillow. I can't see you sitting all the way over there.
Well, I can see you.
That's not fair. I'm right here in the limelight. A little closer. A little closer. Good. Now I can see you. Are you comfortable?
Yes, thank you.
So am I. I'm as comfortable as a cow. Say, would you care for a piece of chewing gum?
No, thank you.
I think that I will indulge. Gee, think of the fortune made by the guy that invented the first piece of chewing gum. It's amazing, huh? Did you know that the Wrigley Building was one of the sights of Chicago?
No.
I took it in December before last at the Century Progress. Did you take it in the Century Progress?
No, I didn't.
Well, it was a wonderful exposition, believe me. You know what impressed me the most? The Hall of Science. It gives you an idea of what the future will be like in America. Oh, it's much more wonderful than the present time is. Say, your brother tells me that you're shy. Is that right, Laura?
I don't know.
I judge you to be an old-fashioned type of girl. I think that's a wonderful type to be. I hope you don't think I'm being too personal. Do you?
Mr. O'Connor, I believe I will take a piece gum if you don't mind.
That's okay.
Just take your time. It's okay, but you can't mind. Okay. Thank you. Say, Mr. O'Connor, have you kept up with your singing by chance?
Singing, me?
Yes, I remember what a wonderful voice you had.
You heard me sing?
Oh, very often. I don't suppose you remember me at all.
You know, as a matter of fact, I thought you looked familiar. It's funny, it seemed like I was about to remember your name, but the name I was about to remember wasn't a name, so I stopped myself before I said it.
Was it Blue Roses?
Blue roses! Yes, oh my gosh, blue roses. I didn't connect you with high school somehow or other, but that's where it was. It was high school. I didn't know you were Shakespeare's sister. Gee, I'm sorry.
I didn't expect you to remember me. You barely even knew me.
Well, we have a speaking acquaintance.
Yes, we spoke to each other.
Didn't we have a class in something together?
Yeah, we did.
What class was that?
It was singing, chorus.
Aw.
I sat across the aisle from you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the auditorium.
Oh, yeah! I remember now. You always came in late.
It was hard for me getting upstairs. I had that brace on my leg then, and it clumped so loud.
I never heard any clumping.
To me, it sounded like thunder.
I never even noticed.
Everyone was seated before I came in, and my seat was in the very back row, so I had to go clumping up the aisle with everyone watching.
Gee, you shouldn't have been so self-conscious.
I know, but I was, and, well, it was just always such a relief when the singing started.
I remember now. And I used to call you Blue Roses. How did I ever get started calling you a name like that?
Well, I was out of school for a while with pleurosis, and you asked me what was the matter when I came back, and I said pleurosis. You thought that I said Blue Roses. That's what you always called me after that.
I hope you didn't mind.
Oh no, I liked it. You see, I wasn't exactly acquainted with many people.
Yeah, I remember. You sort of stuck by yourself.
I just never had much luck at making friends.
Well, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, I sort of started out badly.
You mean being...
Yes, it sort of stood between me.
You
and-
shouldn't have let it.
I know, but it did, and
You mean you were shy with people?
yes, and I never could.
Overcome it?
No, I never could.
Yeah, I guess being shy is something you gotta work out kind of gradually.
Yeah, it.
Takes time.
Yeah.
Say, you know something, Laura? People are not so dreadful when you get to know them. And that's what you have to remember, that everybody has problems. Not just you, but practically everybody has problems. You think of yourself as being the only one who's disappointed, but look around you. What do you see? A whole lot of people, just as disappointed as you are. You take me, for instance. Boy, when I left high school, I thought I'd be a lot further along than I am now. Say, you remember that wonderful write-up I had in the Torch?
Oh, I did.
Said I was bound to succeed in anything I went into. Holy jeez, the Torch!
Here you are, in the Pirates of Penzance.
The pirates! Oh, better to far live and die under the brave black flag I fly. I sang the lead in that operetta.
So beautifully. Very, very beautifully.
You heard me then.
I heard you all 3 times.
No!
Yeah.
All 3 performances?
Yes.
What for?
Well, I wanted to ask you to autograph my program.
Why didn't you ask me?
Well, you were always surrounded by your own friends so much that I never really had the chance.
You should have just come up right to me and said, here is...
Yeah, well, I thought that you might think I was...
Thought I might think you was what? Oh. Right. I was surrounded by females in those days.
You were terribly popular.
Yeah.
You had such a friendly way.
Oh, I was spoiled in high school.
Everybody liked you.
Including you?
Well, yes, I did too.
Give me that program, Laura. There, better late than ever.
My, what a surprise!
My signature's not worth very much now, but it will increase in value. You know, being disappointed is one thing, but being discouraged is another. While I might be disappointed, I'm not discouraged. Say, you finished high school?
I made bad grades in final examinations.
You mean you dropped out?
I didn't go back. Say, how is Emily Meisenbach getting along?
That roundhead?
Why do you call her that?
Because that's what she was.
So you're not still going with her?
Oh, I never even see her.
But it said in the personal selection that you were engaged.
Mm-hmm. I know, but I wasn't impressed by that propaganda.
So it wasn't the truth?
It was only true in Emily's optimistic opinion.
Oh.
Well, what have you done since high school?
What?
I said, what have you done since high school?
Nothing much.
Well, you must have been doing something all this time.
Yes.
Well then, such as what?
I took a business course at business college.
You did. How did that work out for you?
Well, not very well. You see, I had to drop out. It gave me indigestion.
Well, what are you doing now?
Oh, I don't do anything. Much. Oh, please don't think that I just sit around all day doing nothing. My glass collection takes a good deal of time. You know, glass is something that you have to take very good care of.
What'd you say about those?
Collection. I said I have one.
Say, you know what I judge to be your principal trouble? Inferiority complex. You know what that is? That's what they call it when a fellow low rates himself. I know because I had it too. Only my case wasn't as aggravated as yours seems to be. I had it until I took up public speaking and developed my voice. I learned that I had an aptitude for science. Did you know that before that I never thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever?
Oh my.
Now, I've never made a regular study of it, mind you, but I have a friend that says I can read people better than doctors that make a profession of it. I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but I can't read a person's psychology. Excuse me, Laura? I take it out whenever the flavor's gone. I'll just wrap it in a piece of paper. I know how it is when you get stuck on a shoe. Yep, that's what I judge to be your principal trouble. A lack of confidence in yourself as a person. Now I'm basing that fact off of a number of your remarks and observations I've made. For example, that clumping you thought was so awful in high school? You say you dreaded to go upstairs. You see what you did? You dropped out of school, you gave up an education, all because of a little clump, which as far as I can see is non-existent. Oh, a little physical defect is all you have. It's hardly noticeable even. Magnified 1,000 times by your imagination. You know what my strong advice to you is? You have got to think of yourself as superior in some way.
In what way would I think?
Why, man alive, Laura! Look around you a little. What do you see? A world full of common people. All of them born and all of them going to die. Which one of them has 1/10 of your strong points? Or mine, or anyone else's for that matter? do you take interest in?
Well, I do, as I said, have my glass collection.
Oh, you do? What kind of glass is it?
Little articles of it. Ornaments, mostly. Most of them are these tiny glass animals. Mother calls them the glass menagerie. And here's an example of one if you'd like to see it. This one's the oldest, it's nearly 13. Oh, be careful with it. If you breathe, it breaks.
I probably shouldn't take it. I'm pretty clumsy with these kinds of things.
No, go on, I trust you with him. There, you're holding him gently. I'll hold him over the light. He loves the light. See how the light shines through him?
Sure does shine.
I shouldn't be partial, but he is my favorite one.
Say, what kind of animal is this one supposed to be?
Haven't you noticed the single horn on his forehead?
Oh, a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Unicorns, aren't they extinct in the modern world?
I know.
Poor fellow must feel kind of lonesome.
Well, if he is, he doesn't complain about it. He sits on a shelf with all the other horses, and they seem to get along nicely together.
They do. Say, where'll I put them?
You put them on the side table. They all like a change of scenery once in a while.
They do. Hey, look how big my shadow is when I stretch.
Mm-hmm. It stretches all the way across the ceiling.
It stopped raining. Where does the music come from?
The Paradise Dance Hall across the alley.
How about cutting the rug a little, Miss Wingfield? Or is your program all filled up? Here, let me take a look at it. Oh, say, every dance is taken. I'll just scratch a couple out. Ah, a waltz.
I can't dance.
There you go with that inferiority stuff again.
I've never danced in my life.
Come on, try.
But I'd step on you.
I'm not made out of glass.
How do we start?
Arms up,
Like this?
a little bit higher. Now the principal thing about it is just relax.
Okay.
Okay.
It's perfect not to. I'm afraid you can't budge me.
You bet I can't what?
Goodness, yes, you can.
Come on, loosen your backbone a little more.
Come on. I'm trying.
Just not so stiff now, easy does it.
I know, but
Come on. There you go. Come on, there you go. Ready?
It doesn't matter.
Knock the little glass horse over.
Yeah.
Is he broken?
Now he's just like all the other horses.
You mean he's lost his...
He's lost his horn. Yeah. You know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Glass breaks so easily. The traffic jars the shelves and things fall off them.
Gee, I bet that was your favorite one. I bet you'll never forgive me.
I don't have favorites. Much. I'll just pretend that he had an operation. You know, to make him feel less freakish.
Glad to see you have a sense of humor. Lori, you know you're different than anyone else I've met? You mind me saying that? All the nicer because of the difference. I just don't know how to say this. I'm normally pretty good at expressing what I'm thinking, but this is just something I just don't know how to say. Laura, has anyone ever told you that you're pretty? Well, you are, and in a way different from anyone else, and all the nicer because of it. Being different is nothing ashamed of, because other people out there aren't such wonderful people. They're 100 times 1,000, and you're 1 times 1, and they walk all over the earth. You just stay here. They're as common as weeds, and you, well, you're blue roses.
But blue is wrong for roses.
It's right for you. You're pretty.
In what respect am I pretty?
In all respects. Your eyes, your hair, your hands are pretty. You think I'm saying this because I'm invited to dinner and I have to be nice? Oh, I could say plenty of things. I could say plenty of things without being sincere. But I'm talking to you. Sincerely. I happen to notice you have this inferiority complex that keeps you from feeling comfortable with people. Someone has to build your confidence up. Way up and make you proud instead of shy and turning away and blushing. Somebody ought to kiss you, Laura. Gee, I shouldn't have done that. That was way off the beam. Would you care for a cigarette? You don't smoke, do you? Gum, mint, lifesaver. My pocket's a regular drugstore. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. That probably wasn't the idea of having me over. But what if it was? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, in my case, I'm not in a position to... I can't ask for your number and say I'll phone. I can't call up next week, ask for a date. I thought I had better explain the situation in case you misunderstood and I hurt your feelings.
So you won't call again?
No, I can't. I've got strings on me, Laura. I've been going steady. I go out all the time with a girl named Betty. She's a nice, quiet homegirl like you, and Catholic and Irish, and a great many ways we get along fine. I met her on a moonlight boat trip to the Alton on the Majestic. Right from the start, it was love. Love has made a new man of me. Love is pretty tremendous. It can change the whole world. It happened that Betty's aunt took sick and had to catch a wire to Centralia, so when Tom invited me to dinner, naturally I accepted, not knowing, and I mean not knowing. I wish you would say something. What are you doing that for? You want me to have him? What for?
Souvenir.
I'm coming, children. I thought you might like some liquid refreshment. Mr. O'Connor, have you heard that song about lemonade? It's lemonade, lemonade, made in the shade and stirred with a spade, and then it's good enough for any old maid.
No, ma'am, I haven't heard that one.
Why are you so serious, honey?
Well, we were having a serious conversation.
I don't understand modern young people at all. When I was a girl, I was gay about everything.
You haven't changed a bit, Mrs. Wingfield.
I suppose it's the gay devication that has rejuvenated me. Here's to the gay devication! myself. I found some cherries in the kitchen and I put one in each glass.
You shouldn't have gone through all that trouble, ma'am.
Oh, no, it was no trouble at all. Oh, you should have heard us cutting it up in the kitchen. I was so outdone with Tom for not bringing you over sooner, but now that you found your way, I want you to come all the time. Not just once in a while, but all the time. I think I'll go back in that kitchen.
Oh, no, wait, ma'am. Please, don't go, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I've got to be going.
But Mr. O'Connor told me the shank of the evening.
Well, you know how it is.
You mean you're a young working man and have to keep working man's hours?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's all right. I'll let you off early this time, but only on the condition that you stay later next time. Much later. What's the best night for you, Saturday?
As a matter of fact, I have a couple of time clocks to punch Saturday, one in the morning and one at night.
You're so ambitious. You work at night too?
No, ma'am. Not work, but Betty.
Betty? Who's Betty?
Just a girl I go steady with.
You mean it's serious?
Oh, yes, we're planning to get married the second Sunday in June.
Tom didn't say anything at all about your going to be married.
Well, the cat's not out of the bag at the warehouse yet. You know how it is. I'll call you Romeo and stuff like that. It's been a wonderful evening, Mrs. Wingfield. I guess this is what they mean by Southern hospitality.
It was nothing. Nothing at all.
I hope it don't seem like I'm rushing off. I promised Betty that I'd pick her up from the Wash Depot, and by the time I get myself down there, her train will be in. You know how pretty upset women can be when you keep them waiting.
Oh yes, I know all about the tyranny of women. Goodbye, Mr. O'Connor. I wish you happiness and good fortune. You wish him that too, don't you, Laura?
Yes, I do, Mother.
Goodbye, Laura. I'll always treasure the souvenir you gave me. Don't you forget that good advice I gave you. So long, Shakespeare! Thanks again, ladies. Good night.
Well, things just have a way of turning out so badly. I don't believe I would play that Victrola. Well, our gentleman caller was engaged to be married. Tom!
Yes, Mother!
Come out here, I want to tell you something very funny.
Oh. Has our gentleman caller gone away already?
The gentleman caller made a very early departure. That was a nice trick you played on us too.
How do you mean?
I mean, you didn't mention that our gentleman caller was engaged to be married.
June! Engaged?
That's what he just informed us.
Well, I'll be damned, I didn't know.
I find that very peculiar.
Okay. What is peculiar?
Didn't you say that he was your best friend down at the warehouse?
I did, but how did I know?
I find it very peculiar that you didn't know that your best friend was engaged to be married.
Mother, the warehouse is a place where I work, not where I know things about people.
You don't know things anywhere. You live in a dream. You manufacture illusion. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies.
That's right. That's right. Now that you've had us make such fools of ourselves, the effort, the preparations, the expense, the floor lamp, the rug, the new clothes for Laura, all for what? To entertain some other girl's fiancé? Go to the movies, go! Don't think about us. Mother, deserted. An unmarried sister who's crippled and has no job. Don't let anything interfere with your selfish pleasures. Go! Go to the movies!
I will. I will. I'll go to the movies, and the more that you shout at me about my selfish pleasures, the faster I'll go, Amanda Wingfield.
Go then. Go to the moon, you selfish dreamer!
I didn't go to the moon. No, I went much further. For time is the longest distance between two spaces. I descended the steps of this fire escape and followed from then on in my father's footsteps, trying to find emotion that we had lost in space. I traveled around a great deal. The cities, they swept about me like dead leaves torn off of branches. And I would have stopped. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something. And it always came upon me unawares, taking me altogether by surprise. And perhaps it was a bit of familiar music, or perhaps it was a piece of transparent glass. Or perhaps I'm walking alone down a street before I've found companions and I pass the lighted window of a shop where perfume is sold. And the window is filled with tiny colored bottles, like bits of a shattered rainbow, and all at once, my sister touches my shoulder, and I turn around and I look her in the eye, and I just say, "Oh, Laura, I tried. I really tried to leave you behind me, but I am much more faithful than I intended to be." I reach for a cigarette, I run into a bar or a movie, and I whisper to the nearest stranger, "Anything that can blow your candles out, for nowadays, the world is lit by lightning." Blow out your candles, Laura. And so, goodbye.